What's up, guys? Clutch Up Cat out here today, doing a little maintenance and rebuild on the F4I. This thing has been long overdue for this ever since I bought it. I've been rocking it all season long. Pretty much story behind this thing is I bought it fully set up already, so other than a little bit of adjustments to like the brake and stuff, I changed that out. But other than that, today I'm just going to be tearing this thing down. But I'm going to be tearing this thing down today. I'm going to show you guys all the process of that. How I lay out my parts, my bolts and everything, so I know everything's going back together. My goal is to get this thing pretty far tore apart. I got to get everything taken out for powder coating. Plan to show you guys the whole process, kind of talk about what I'm doing along the way, and this should be a pretty well covered rebuild because this thing's due for it. We'll go ahead and get started on that, and if I think of more stuff to let you guys know, I'll tune back in. Also, guys, to fill you in, I got this new GoPro Hero 7. Picked this up the other day off Facebook Marketplace, and I'm gonna tell you what, after using it only one day so far, this thing is kick-ass. It has got some awesome quality footage. The hyper smooth is just everything I would have thought it would have been. Also, I got a new Cena on my helmet as well, so for this coming season I should be pretty well set up. Also, guys, just to talk about how I'm going to label some of my bolts and stuff. So I told you guys I'm going to show you how you can make it to where you don't mix anything up. I mean, all the stuff I'm pulling up now, I mean, shoot, you can look here, this doesn't even have a bolt in it. But all that stuff I'm kind of probably just going to put in one bag or so. But once we get down to the deeper parts like frame, subframe, all that kind of stuff, I'll be organizing it a little better. But this will get me started, so we'll be writing it down in a little bag. Sharpie, write what the part is on there, and that'll work. Alright, so now I'm taking off the gas tank. Pulled these bolts out here, along with the top bolts down there. I've actually got this one, the head broke off of it, so I'm going to have to pull that out when I get the frame all apart. But a little tip and trick for holding up your gas tank. Hold this for me. Thank you, sir. Hook this guy up here. Hook this guy up here. Give it a few clicks. Wow. Now you got your gas tank held up for you while you get all your connections off. Then we'll take the air box off, maybe the throttle bodies and all that next, and then we'll do the subframe and rear wheel. So I got the tank off, I got the air box off. Now I'm probably going to do the throttle bodies next. I'm going to start unhooking a lot of this wiring now that I've got that all opened up. Quick wiring tip for you guys: if you're ever taking apart a wire harness or wiring of any sort and you're not sure that you're going to know how to put it back together correctly, it's really simple. All you got to do is put a piece of tape on the plug, put a piece of tape on the connector where it goes, and mark them with the same number, letter, whatever you want to do. A lot of times they'll make these bikes to where only one clip goes into one clip on the other side, male to female. So sometimes it's almost impossible to plug it in the wrong spot, but I know with all the wiring it gets a little overwhelming, so I'll probably label a few of these that I'm unsure on and go from there. I'll start pulling apart this subframe first and then get into this throttle body and wiring mess up here. Now I got the battery out, battery tray, computer. I got all this wiring untucked from down underneath here where it was all ran through into the tray here. All I really had to disconnect was the battery terminals here. And then all this stuff was just sitting in the tray. I unhooked the computer harness clips. Fuse box is still here. All my relays kind of just hung back in that tray. I'll just have to unhook my rectifier here, and then I'll undo the rest of this wiring, get any zip ties and stuff off. Then I'll be able to pull this subframe off and move on to the next part. I got the first top two bolts out of the subframe already. This top one's gonna double as a mount for your coolant reservoir. Just a heads up. Check this out. Has these junk ass bolts in here. Not OEM. Not even sure that this one, oh, this might be OEM. But yeah, I'm gonna pull out these bottom two. On the F4I is also, this bottom subframe mount is also gonna be the mount for my cage, so. Next, I'm going to take off the throttle bodies. I've already got my throttle cables all disconnected since I took my handlebars off. And then this wiring clip I should be able just to disconnect down here. Let's see, yep, right there. So that'll disconnect my whole wiring clip. So I'll pull those off. To get those off, it's some Phillips head screws down there. I don't know if you can see that one right there. And then there's another one back there. So the way to get to those, actually, on the side of the frame here, there's a little hole. In that hole, you can get to the Phillips head screw back there. Just gotta have a longer screwdriver, so I'll go ahead and pull those off. I'll probably have to unhook all my wiring, so I'll start labeling stuff with tape if need be. And then once I get those off, I'll shove some paper towels down in the ports there. That way I don't get anything to fall down in there once it's all disassembled. So go ahead and start on that and get back to you guys. Alright, making some good progress here now. Got all the wiring harness out of the way. I got all my stuff labeled on where it's going, so here's my wiring harness here in my hand. Got all my numbers labeled on each of these, so that way I know where everything's going back together. And this thing was never ran the best through here anyways, so I'm gonna reroute the harness when I go to put it back together. So I got a bunch of parts laying over here. Alright guys, so now I'm going to take off the radiator. For the radiator, you got two mounting bolts. You got one up here on the left hand side of the bike, and then one down here as well, and it's got a nut on the back end. On the right hand side of the bike, you've got another mounting post, so once you undo those two, you should be able just to slide this radiator this way and drop it down. But first, before you do any of that, you want to dump all the coolant out, so that way when you go pulling this thing apart, you don't got coolant flying out all these hoses. So if you look down towards the shift lever down here, you'll find that this bolt right here has a little arrow pointing to it, and when you unscrew that, that's where all your coolant's going to come out of. So we'll start with that, dump our coolant out, and then go from there.